Once upon a time, in a certain kingdom, there was a girl named Karen. Karen was born into poverty. Her small bare feet had grown accustomed to the summer dust and gravel, as well as the biting cold of winter. However, fate smiled upon her when a wealthy and kind old lady passed by. She saw the poor girl and decided to adopt her. Karen's life changed overnight. From wearing tattered rags, she was now draped in silks and velvets. She rode in a gilded carriage and ate the most delicious foods. The old lady loved Karen like her own daughter, always giving her the very best. But instead of being grateful, a seed of ugliness sprouted in Karen's heart: vanity. Karen began spending hours in front of the mirror, caring only for her appearance. She gradually forgot her humble origins. One day, the queen traveled through the town, bringing along the little princess. The princess was dressed simply, but on her feet, she wore a pair of magnificent red shoes made of fine Morocco leather. Karen stood in the crowd, her eyes glued to those shoes. "Oh, look at those shoes. I must have them. Only then will I be truly beautiful." Time flew by, and Karen reached the age for her confirmation ceremony. The old lady took her to the best shoemaker to have a pair of shoes made. But ignoring the other sensible leather shoes, Karen set her sights on a pair of bright red shoes in the glass display case. She was determined to have them. Because the old lady had poor eyesight, Karen lied. She said they were black leather shoes. The old lady suspected nothing and agreed to buy them for her. Karen loved her red shoes dearly. She wore them everywhere, even to the holy service at the church. "I will not tolerate this insolence any longer. You will do as I say. Don't worry so much, child. The path ahead might seem long, but we will walk it together." When they arrived in front of the church, they met an old soldier. He was working as a shoeshine. Because he looked pitiful, the old lady tossed him a few gold coins. She asked Karen to extend her feet for him to polish the shoes. The old soldier smiled a shadowy smile. He tapped lightly on the soles. "My, what beautiful dancing shoes. Mind you stick fast when you dance." Karen paid no mind to the old soldier's strangeness. Everyone at the ceremony was shocked and stared at her glaringly red shoes, but the naive Karen thought they were admiring her. Throughout the sacred ceremony, everyone focused on praying, but Karen's mind was glued to the red shoes sparkling beneath her dress. She secretly admired them, turning her ankles to catch the light. Her disrespect had invited disaster. That evening, the old lady suddenly fell gravely ill. She lay paralyzed, her breathing weak, her forehead burning hot. "Karen, water, please stay with me. I feel so weak." Karen worriedly brought a glass of water, but just then the doorbell rang. A servant brought in a magnificent gold-plated invitation. It was an invitation to the royal ball. Karen held the card, her hands trembling with excitement. This was the biggest ball of the year. But the old lady needed her care. A fierce internal struggle took place. She looked at the red shoes sitting on the shelf. They seemed to be glowing, and then selfishness won. "She won't even know where I've gone." Karen hurriedly changed her dress. She slipped the red shoes onto her feet, leaving the frail old woman alone in the dark to run after the lavish party. The palace was ablaze with crystal lights. Melodious music filled the air. Karen entered like a princess. Every eye was drawn to her brilliant red shoes. She smiled triumphantly and stepped out onto the dance floor. But suddenly, before she could pose, her feet began to dance uncontrollably. They knocked together, then jumped to the left, then jumped to the right. Because she danced so skillfully, everyone at the party focused on her. Karen could not suppress her panic. "What is happening? My feet. I can't control them." Karen tried to grab hold of a pillar to stop, but the force of the shoes was too strong. It jerked her down and dragged her across the floor. Outside, pitch-black night covered everything. The shoes did not give Karen a single second of rest. They forced her to dance through the cold, empty streets, over the rough cobblestone bridges. Karen was dragged into the dark forest. Sharp thorns tore her expensive silk dress. Her feet were in agony, aching and weary. But the shoes kept dancing, tapping a rhythmic clop-clop against the cold ground. In her loneliness and extreme pain, Karen suddenly thought of the old lady. She remembered the days the grandmother cared for her. She remembered the trusting look in her eyes when she lied. Regret rose like a tsunami, squeezing her heart. She realized how ungrateful she had been. Grandma, I was wrong. I was so selfish. A miracle happened the moment Karen screamed. The red shoes suddenly skipped a beat. Then they reversed direction. Instead of dragging her deeper, they began to drag her, dancing back the way she came. They did not stop until they reached the familiar mansion. Bang! The shoes kicked open the heavy oak door. They dragged Karen up the stairs, rushing straight into the old lady's bedroom. The room was still silent under the moonlight. Grandma, please wake up. Punish me, scold me, but please don't leave me. Forgive me. The noise and Karen's cries woke the old lady. She wearily opened her dim eyes. She felt the pain and repentance in those cries. She struggled to sit up. Using her last bit of strength, she opened her arms wide. Karen, my poor child, come here. Hearing her call, Karen tried to use all her will to resist the shoes. She leaned toward the old woman, trying to grasp her hand. I love you, Grandma. I promise I will be good. It suppressed the curse on the red shoes. Immediately, the shoes stopped dancing and slipped off her feet. They became wrinkled and gray, like withered leather. The next morning, the shoes vanished into the void. As for Karen, she now danced with bare feet, bringing laughter to everyone. She stayed by the old lady's side, and they lived happily ever after.